Greetings, Warlords. Rodge here. Welcome to Saga Thursday, the show all about the skirmish miniature game from Studio Tomahawk. Today we are joined by Brit. Brit, how's it going?
I'm doing really well today. How are you doing, Raj?
Good, very good. Do you want to give us the Strategicon of Saga intro? Well, I
Yeah.
guess can you do it off the top of your head?
Say, welcome to an episode from the Kansas City War Room Warlords, episode of Strategicon of Saga, visiting into Saga Thursday. There you go. That's maybe
Right.
kind of riffing off the top of the head. Usually I breathe and then do it. So
I know sometimes I
yeah.
gotta there's a lot going on. I have to kind of center myself and be like, okay, what are we doing here? So awesome. Yeah, if folks don't recognize the voice, you are the kind of the main man for Strategicon of Saga podcast. And you've been on the show before, and you volunteered to come on the show again. So I really appreciate that. And today's topic is the Indians from Age of Alexander. So this one, probably a long time coming. I don't know what it is about the Alexander books or factions. I'm having kind of some trouble finding reviewers for that, so I don't know what there's some bad mojo with that one or what's going on here, or people have other things going on. But finally,
favorite book.
Yeah, finally getting to the Indians here, and there's definitely a lot to discuss here. But were the Indians your first warband in the ancients? Did you do Hannibal first, or
I actually didn't do Hannibal. I skipped right into kind of when I first got into this. Alexander was like getting ready to come out. Came out. I painted as we did the Macedonian review. I did the Macedonians. Loved them. Fell right on my face. Actually, facing Indians the first time I ever ran them twice in one day. And nobody up here ran Indians in Kansas City. And I thought the model options were really cool. And said, I'm going to paint them since nobody's got them, right? We had guys do successors, Persians, Macedonians. And I said, I'm going to run the Indians. Why not?
awesome? What are you using for your figures?
So it's a kind of a mix. So actually, when I went up to Adepticon, it was 2 years ago now, or maybe it was last year, right? So we did this. We're 5 months post Adepticon. I came up last time, so most of my warband is Blitzkrieg miniatures. So I really enjoyed the way those look. They have all the options, and the only other change I made is I have the Raja on an elephant, and so I went with the Aventine miniatures, the one where he's like grabbing the Macedonian guy, and then I used Blitzkrieg miniatures to put as the warlord with like a comp bow shooting out of it, since the Raja on the elephant shoots a little bit different. So that was kind of the kit bash I did inside there, and really love Blitzkrieg miniatures.
Cool. Awesome. Right. Well, you've talked about a couple of the options here already for equipment, and we might as well dive into that. So, quite a few unique things going on here.
Get ready.
I don't know what the best way to tackle this. Maybe we'll just kind of do them as they come up here. So your warlord can be mounted on a heavy chariot, an elephant, or have no equipment options. So the no equipment options, he's just a guy on foot. We know about that. We've seen the heavy chariot from Hannibal as a unique unit. The Indians get that same exact heavy chariot configuration. They do not get to put the Carthaginians don't get to put a warlord on it though. So I think he just increased aggression on a heavy chariot.
Yeah, his aggression's 12, and then that's on impact. So he still follows the impact rules. When you charge, you get a bunch of dice. When you get hit and you're not the charge or the aggressor, you only get like 4 dice. So it's kind of rough to be the defender.
12 on the charge plus an auto hit. That's pretty. That's nothing to sneeze at there.
No, it's not. He's still pretty good.
Okay. Now, it doesn't say here, but for the elephant, you have to actually pay a point to mount him on that, right?
Yep.
And we're not going to get into his profile really, but he is sort of like an elephant. He's got all the rules, but he's aggression 10. I think shooting aggression 3 and resilience 3.
Shooting aggression is 3. Yeah.
Okay.
And resilience 3.
Okay. So, but he is kind of worth like double the victory points as well.
Yeah, he's.
Now I know
He's
you
worth
have
9.
taken
Go
him.
ahead.
Like kind of like what you would say, like a standard list for you. Would you which one of these are you kind of taking as your kind of default or what you like to take?
Standard is on the elephant. Just
Nice.
the board. The board supports it really well. It's a cool model. I'll say that. Like heavy chariots are really cool. Putting a warlord on an elephant, just to me, is like the coolest thing you can do in the game. That's my favorite model I've painted. But it's also really good. Resilience 3. He shoots 3. Um, it's really good. So he's standard. To me, that's my standard. I pay 1 point. He's worth 9 points when he dies. So that kind of hurts a lot, but he's 2 units effectively.
Mm-hmm. So would you say for somebody just getting into Indians or kind of more of a beginner player, would they be all right taking the Rodge and the elephant?
I think they could figure it out. There's some secret kind of plays that aren't available. On foot, he's really good. I'm not gonna, at the end of the day, the warlord on just standard foot is still really good. The heavy chariot, really good. I think they're all great options. But when you put them on the elephant and you pay that point, it kind of changes the dynamic of the warband a little bit. And so that's sometimes kind of the tricky part for maybe a new player. Where I would say try it if you want, but playing with like effectively a 6-point warband can be kind of tough, or like a 6-unit warband can be kind of tough for some new players.
So you're going to be kind of down like a unit, some figures. So there's some we're going to get into abilities here. He's well supported in that elephant role, so you just kind of gotta know the how to roll with that. So okay, so single unit of Hearth Guards can either be equipped with heavy weapons or mounted on horses. It's interesting wording. I'm assuming you can take multiple units of Hearth Guards, or only just a single.
So
unit?
you can take multiple units of Hearthguard. You're just going to have to. You didn't quite cover it, but the heavy chariot is a Hearthguard option. It says only a single unit, so you could take one of each. Is kind of the way I read it most of the time. So you could have like a horse, heavy weapon. You do that just fine, but you only get a single unit of each of those. You can't put 2 units of heavy weapon guys on the table, basically.
Got it. Yeah. So the heavy chariots are kind of lumped in with the Hearthguard, kind of as recruiting and stuff like that. And I think something else as we'll see. Got the elephants. They're kind of their own thing there.
Yep.
And we've seen in Hannibal plenty of elephants, and there's a whole episode devoted to their rules. If you look it up and get a little refresher on that, I would say I can even mention in there is probably the best board for taking an elephant. Would you? Yeah. Would you say? Would you take 2 elephants?
This is the elephant board. We could talk about my standard list here in a second.
Okay.
But elephants, there are plenty of guys. I think this is the board. If you want to run Elephant Wild, this is the board to do it. You want to put 2 in a single unit, go for it. You want the Rodge on an elephant with another elephant. You want 3 elephants in your warband. None of those are a bad option.
Do it. All right. The warriors can be mounted, and they're kind of lumped in with these light chariots, which we will, I guess maybe they have been fact, so I did put the profile here. So kind of flip-flop the aggression there. I would say now they're kind of more kind of like a combo unit, essentially, where before they kind of shared some aspects with a composite bow horseman unit, but they shot better, but they were worse in melee. And now I think mathematically they're quite, I don't know, at least in my mind, I haven't played with them or against them since then, but it seems like they kind of are closer to just kind of how a composite bow horseman unit would play in the game. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I've played them pre-fact and post-fact. I'm somebody who likes a little more melee, so sometimes playing with like the old version where they just shot they shot wild. This was I know it's going to hurt some people's feelings. I think this was a much needed FAQ. I don't know if there was a great direction anyway, but they are now much more like just a combo unit that has like resilience running around with them. They melee well now, so they're part of the melee, right? They're aggression 8 or 2 per single model. They're great. They're still good. I still run them in my list. They're still doing what they used to do. You're just not shooting 40 times a round out of one unit, which is just bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting. The dynamic before was if you just get into melee, their aggression was pathetic and you could just kind of hammer them. But now you got to be like, well, okay, what unit am I going to get into them?
Yep.
How many fatigues when I get there? Because now you're throwing out as many attacks as I am now. So like, it's not much of a no brainer, but then the urgency isn't necessarily there either. If the shooting is tapped down. So
yeah, they still kind of skirmish shoot really well though. So they do still draw a lot of attention. In the couple games I've run them since the FAQ, it's still a unit that you have to attack or I'm just going to skirmish shoot you. And then their aggression threat is still really good. So like if they stay around till late game, they're a melee threat late game all of a sudden.
Ooh, good point. Yeah, turn the tables. Yeah. And you've got the resilience. So you're like, I'll just free, like a last turn charge or something. You're like, well, I'm not going to lose anything. I'll just soak it up.
I'm not losing a single model, and it's great. Yeah. So like they still have to respect them. The play against the Indians doesn't really change much, as wild as that is. You still got to blow the light chariots up. You still got to come after them. And for me, I'll use them as bait all game, and they're great. So they're wonderful. They're still a wonderful unit. Just get your mind wrapped around melee with them. Go melee with them. They're fun.
Sweet. All right. Rounding it out, we got the levies. They can have bows or no special equipment. And now this is kind of wild where this is a board where you're not like tantalized by the no special equipment option necessarily because of everything else going on. I think that's pretty interesting. Usually if you see them, like you take them, but everything is kind of, you've got so many options here. You're pulled in different directions. Some of the Saga abilities want you to do something. I think that's quite interesting. But all right, so what do you kind of run in or like to play these days for Indians?
Yeah, so the list that I kind of got handed off, and I'll give a lot of the credit to one of our players here, Stephen Holdeman. He's the one that kind of gave me a lot of the list. As I was trying to find some lists, he said, no, this is the list you're going to run. It's really good. It's the list I still use even after the FAQ. So I run the Raja on an elephant. I run another elephant. And then I run 2 units of light chariots and then 2 levy. I do like a lot of the other stuff in there. I've played with the heavy chariots. They're a lot of fun. I played with the warlord on heavy chariot. It's all really fun. But the list that I take, even post FAQ, it's effectively a 6 dice army. And so it's like I said, it's all of that. And then the levy, I do take standard levy. I haven't painted, but I prefer to take 2 points of bow levy if I can get away with it. But the standard levy is, we'll look at the board here in a little bit. The standard levy, they have a place, and with a lot of like objective-based games, they're pretty tough to move. So they're actually a really good unit to take.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think that sounds good to me. On the surface, doesn't seem like as much painting to do, but each chariot, kind of like five figures by itself. And like a 6th phantom figure for how much you have to move the brush behind things and in between things. So.
It's arguably the toughest and unit I can wait to never paint again. Because to paint one single unit of light chariots is like it's eight guys for the Blitzkrieg. Then it's 8 horses, the chariots itself, and then the bases are a 40 by 80 millimeter base.
Oh boy,
so you have like all of this to balance, and it's just, it was probably the worst. Kind of putting it all together, it just kind of never again. I'm glad I painted 2 of them and I'm done with it. But they really look amazing. Like so I will say that.
Triple going on quadruple the effort to get those babies on the table. So at least they're at least they're useful. One thing we didn't mention was the chaturanga thing. And so we'll just kind of quickly go over that. There are some restrictions. So you can't take just 6 elephants or all chariots. You kind of, I don't know, I got the wording up here, but basically you kind of got to take a mix of everything. And I don't know, kind of reading the little fluff bits and everything. They talk about the different,
there's the
way of war is mixing everything, kind of like a Sun Tzu kind of thing almost.
Very much vibe. But the quick hit of that one is basically no more than half your army can be resilience-based units. Or half your units on the table, and then you can't take more than half of your list is like the same unit. And so I will say my list kind of plays right into that kind of like gray zone, right? Like the warlord doesn't count, so I get to take 3 units of resilience. So I effectively have 4 resilience units on the table with the warlord. It kind of gets into that. So like I said, that's for each maybe kind of group to decide on how they like that. But that's kind of the ruling that we've always kind of played by.
Okay.
Is 3 of the units, which is half of the guys, and then the warlord doesn't count towards those resilience units.
Okay. Cool. Well, fun and uniqueness does not stop at that special rules section. It continues forward to the top of the battle board. So the top left, the 2 abilities there, you have your normal kind of hero Hearthguard activation. They throw the elephants in there, which is cool. Some of the boards, like warriors. And then this one is might not seem so good. To activate the rest of the stuff is the uncommon and a rare. But we'll see. They've got a decent ability there, I think, explicitly making up for this kind of thing here. But
one quick note on that. Sorry, this is one slight difference. On Pata, it's activate any unit. So I will say sometimes in the middle of a game when I don't know if I want to activate my warlord or not, it's activate any unit. So sometimes if I have the dice, that's where they go. And so it's not just a levy activation, it's activate any unit. So sometimes if like my light chariot's over here and the Rodge is over here, there's an elephant there, you just kind of throw all your activation dice there if you have them. So that's maybe my only little interject into that. It's activate any unit, not just levy.
Gotcha, should just be the tree. Because if you got the boat or the elephant, you might as well just throw it over there because it keeps your flexibility open. This little golden nugget you've already provided for us. That's cool. Yeah, I never considered that. Yeah, usually those are exclusive, but not for that one. So that's cool. Yeah, Ultimate, love that flexibility. Being able to see how that combat goes and being able to switch tactics as necessary.
Yep.
But people are probably more interested in the next 3 here.
Yeah.
The new type of ability, orders / tactics. And essentially once the dice are loaded on these the wording is in effect essentially and is just like an ongoing bonus. Did I explain that right? Okay. So like
I always like to think of it like a light switch. Once you put the dice on there, the light switch turns on, you have light, and they're just on until you don't have the dice on there anymore.
So the last one, this is where we get into.
Oh, I can yeah. They're wonderful words, but they're tough. So the first one is Vajra, Padma, and then I always say this wrong, so I always end up looking it up, unfortunately. But it's Viohus. Viohus is how you say that last one.
Viohus. Yeah. Okay. So that one like kicks in during your orders phase. But the other 2 are just ongoing bonuses for your troops. So the range of your bows and composite bows is increased by S. So that makes sense. So a composite bow goes from a medium plus S, 10 inches. Regular bow goes up to a mighty 16 inches. The other one there is just an ongoing reroll of an attack or defense dice just throughout the turn here. So these are pretty cool. I mean, there's nothing in Saga like these, but if one were to load up all 3 of them, you would see you have 5 of your 8 Saga dice up there. So there's got to be a balancing act of some kind. So how do you kind of navigate these abilities?
Yeah, so and there's an ability on the board we will talk about that helps get some of this done.
Okay.
Because as you can see, you need a lot of uncommons, like a rare sometimes, so you don't get the dice you need. But effectively, I start with Padma, right? I think that's where you're kind of doing these big, long volleys. The beauty is you can maneuver your levy unit, and they're still in range. So you kind of maneuver, but it's getting that extra S. The light chariots, because their base is so big, sometimes they're really hard to fit into some of these tight spaces, and giving them that 10-inch shot is really good. Elephants in the beginning, they're kind of slow. They're just kind of trundling along. Now they get to shoot an extra S. So I like to start with Padma, and then as I know contact's going to happen and my mindset shifting into melee mode, then that's when kind of the Varja comes out. And Viejas is It's one of those just when you need it, you desperately have to have the dice because you're only rolling like 3, 4, or 5 dice some rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you got to make sure you have the right dice. So that one at least gives you the ability to kind of always guarantee you're close to the dice you need. So there you go. That's kind of the way I started. If you're going to be shooting, Padma, once you get into contact, re-rolling is huge throughout like 2, 3, 4 rounds of contact. Re-rolling 1 every single time for defense attack. It's so good.
So once these are loaded up, I mean, would they stay there? But like if you really wanted to, you could like pull them at the start of your like orders phase. Is that
there are plenty of times that has to happen. So it's kind of the trick to defeating Indians is get them to get these dice out of here.
Okay.
And that's why I start with 6 dice too, right? I'm going to have dice locked up here, so I have a 6 dice army. Yeah. I'm okay with 2 of the dice locked in because I'm rolling my full dice. But that's kind of the trick is that I can kind of load these up. If I need the dice desperately, I can pull those 2 and roll them. But I typically struggle to even roll that many dice. I'm rolling 6, maybe 7 dice at most.
Sure. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, definitely can see the utility of the Padma, Varja. Not going to turn it down, and usually if you can get it loaded up, towards the end of the game when you're down to 3 or 4 Saga dice, aren't going to use these dice anyways, so you might as well soak up these bennies here. I'm guessing I don't think there's a replacement on here, but no activation pool for these guys.
It's why that last one's so important, right? The ability to re-roll your inactive, which remember your inactive Saga dice are the ones you've already rolled that haven't been placed yet. So you roll them, you go, oh, that wasn't a good roll. I can at least re-roll them to get a good roll, or hopefully a better roll.
Cool.
So
right.
Nope, you don't get activation pool. You got what you got, and you can't throw a fit on it.
Well, let's pop down to the battle board itself. First of the 10 abilities here, I'm saying this is Pati. I'm going to say it. It's 2 common dice activation, and here we can see, activate up to 3 units of Hearthguard, warriors, levies, or elephants to move or shoot, and it has to be a different troop type. So this kind of makes up for the activation thing a bit up top, and is once again kind of encouraging you to take all the different troop types here. It is a 2-die ability, so we know Saga veterans are a little wary of the 2-die ability. What are you thinking here? It's activation though. Is this like your standard for activating troops? Is this what you go to?
This is it. This is your kind of like the bread and butter. You're going to do this every single round if you can. Especially in the beginning phases when you have elephants and you got your Raja and you got light chariots, which are warriors, right? Don't forget light chariots are warrior units. And so really this is kind of how you're getting everybody to move. This is how you're getting everybody to activate to shoot. Because as we've kind of already covered, sometimes you need uncommons and rares to activate them. 2 uncommons, I will say sometimes there are rounds you don't roll uncommons and then you kind of got to, you kind of hate it. But this is
guaranteed at least once per 3-game tournament. There'll be a round of trees and potentially a second turn like that too. So yeah, seems great ability. I think I will say if you're a beginner, there are some sequence things that could trip you up with your composite bows. You don't shoot them immediately. You have to wait for all 3 of these activations to play out. So
yes,
you might have been planning to shoot on you can activate to shoot depending on the troop type, but you could say you're going to move up your elephant, you were planning to shoot it, and then somebody else charges. Well, the sequence here is the 3 units. So if the last unit's going to charge, it's going to charge before the compo goes off. So just
it's good.
It's kind of a common thing anytime these multi-activations come up. And probably this is the warband with the most composite bows. I mean, composite bows aren't really even a thing in Alexander or Hannibal, really. Top of my
you have a whole army of them.
It's just these guys, yeah. Okay. Moving down, change of plans. So I think this is the one you were thinking about earlier for just a little tree, common die, orders reaction. So it has to sit to the other guy's turn. Roll 4 available Saga dice, place them on orders tactics if possible. And if you can't, then you just garbage. essentially.
Yeah. It's
So, yeah. Is this like an early gameplay? Is this how you always load those up?
If I can, right? I say this is maybe kind of a for the new guys. If you're a second player and you get to roll like 3 dice and they don't cap how many dice you get, this is kind of a way to get a ton of dice on the board early. You take like being second player, but this is where I like to try to load it. Or as we talk about, change of plan is a really good term for it. Is I'm going from that shooting phase in the beginning to the melee phase. Sometimes it could be really hard to like roll your dice and go, okay, now I've got to put 2 up here and pull these 2. Well, one common, you can maybe kind of get some good luck, roll what you need, and you put them up there, and what you don't, you just kind of, like I said, just throw them in the trash. But yeah, so it quite literally mid game, this is a great way to try to change plans. Or in the beginning, it's a great way to kind of load up what you need up there early.
Nice. Yeah, just use that. So I think mathematically we could find this out, but how often do you roll and then you don't get like anything? It's like 4 boats or something.
It happens more often than I wish I could say. Where you're like you're desperately needing to go into melee phase, or you just really need to shoot, and you don't get what you need, and you go, okay, that's kind of silly. But I will say sometimes it does at least take the uncommon, or kind of fill one of them up, because you can always choose to pull it off anyways. So that's kind of the beauty of it. Load everything you can, and if you want to pull. But yeah, it happens a lot because you're trying to roll an uncommon and a rare together. And that's just really, that's a lot to ask.
Okay.
So
well,
it happens more often
if it's
than
empty,
I want it to.
the first one should get you something. If you're just going in empty. Obviously, if you got Padma loaded up, you just kind of got a 4 in 6 chance to get that rare. But then like a 90% chance you rolled 3 other boats when you did roll that rare, right? All right.
Yep.
Down to shock. So this is a rare melee ability, and I'm in shock just reading it. So I'm going to let you describe how this one works.
Yeah. So it's basically, if your unit inflicts auto hits, you get to double the number of auto hits, and then you cap it at 8. So there's a couple reasons that would happen. But this is such a great ability when you've got to go into melee. If you have heavy chariots, it can be really good. You're warlord on a chariot. Elephants is where it gets really nasty.
Yeah.
If you're hitting mounted units, this is where we talk about elephants.
Yeah.
Elephants get 4 auto hits on an elephant unit. And they're already hitting at -1. So this is just this is like the moment you kind of watch the blood flow out of somebody's eyes when they get a mounted unit slammed into by a single elephant model that's like already maybe almost dead. And then you just drop 8 auto hits on them, and it's really rough. It
does take a rare though. So is this where the first rare is going to go, or do we have some competition?
There's plenty of competition on the board for the rare. This is one of those, when the opportunity presents itself, it's one of those like you got to take it. If you have to delete a mounted unit, a mounted Hearthguard unit, right? If I'm hitting them, or I'm charging an elephant into like a foot Hearthguard unit that they may want to close ranks, this is going to make them decide to not to. And I'm still okay with dropping 4 auto hits on like a 6-pack of Hearthguard. If they're mounted Hearthguard, that's pretty much a gone unit. So
sure, so it might be more the opponent's composition of their troops will decide if the first rare goes here or not.
Yeah, like if the elephant's really close to a mounted unit, which the elephants, I will say, tend to take care of like light chariots or the levy really well. And so when somebody charges into that unit, the elephant's just sitting there like, okay, well, it's my turn to shine.
There you go, baby.
And that's when the rare would be like, oh, that's a no-brainer. I'm going in with 8 auto hits into that unit that just destroyed my levy. So it's so good. I will say, it's like, I don't play it every game, but when you get to, as an Indian player, it's like one of the coolest elephant abilities.
Yeah. As a Saga veteran, I don't think there's an ability that can provide more pleasure to the person triggering it. If you played a lot of Saga, 8 auto hits. I'll take those. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What if we're looking at like going from 2 to 4 auto hits? Still, abilities?
It's and this is where I would say is your ability to re-roll dice. Like I said, if the opportunity is there, charge into something where you're going to hit twice. 4 auto hits is still really good. Like I said, a hurt warrior unit that's standing around, or heaven forbid they have a 4-pack of Hearthguard. Here's 4 auto hits plus whatever else I can hit you with. Or even 2 auto hits from like somebody that charges that gets 1 auto hit. 1 auto hit. If I have an extra rare, I'll take 2 auto hits on something instead of 1.
Sounds good. Let's go. Okay.
It's good all the way around. There isn't anything bad to say about the ability, minus it's a rare. It needs to be a rare. I'm okay with that. But
well, next one down, we got another activation here. So another way to get your boys moving called No Way Out. It takes the tree, just a common, and there's a lot of text here. So I'll defer this one to you as well.
So this is I'll just start with, this is one that if you can play it every round, it pretty much gets played every round. This happens. Sure. So when you do this, you either activate a foot bow unit, so like your levy bow, they can move and then they immediately can shoot. So they move, they shoot fatigue free, or your composite bow. This is where it's kind of the 2-parter. If you use it on the foot guys, they move and then shoot. That's a great dice economy for a levy unit. You're moving them and shooting them for one uncommon, or 1 common, sorry. And then this is where the old light chariots used to kind of get away with a lot of murder, unfortunately. Now it's still skirmishing, right? As I said, they still have a great place, and this ability, shooting 4 times out of that unit, this is still good. You basically, what it does is, when you activate a comp bow unit to move with, their next move will be fatigue free. So as we know, you want to move a comp bow unit, then you can take a fatigue free shot. Well, the next time I activate them to move after I activated them with No Way Out for the initial move, it will be fatigue free. So this is a really good way to bring the comp bows, or this is the other really fun part about it, the elephants get to use this ability too.
Yeah,
because they have a composite bow. So the elephant can move fatigue free again, or the light chariots move up, shoot. You can either move to the side, shoot again, or you can bring them back home fatigue free. Like I said, the elephants, we'll talk about, there's a really fun combo with elephants that you can charge 14 inches across the table. This is part of that.
Absolutely. And so the Raja the elephant, he's got the combo too. So he can move fatigue free as well. So yep. This is good. It's awesome. Yeah.
But I will say, you've got to have it part of the plan, as you talked about, learning to run combos, learning to run the combo side of an elephant. That's where this kind of ability really can be tough for players. Is where when I first played the board, this is where I would trip every time I'd put dice in the wrong order, do something, and then all of a sudden you realize, like, oh goodness, I didn't have the dice to do it. I thought I maybe had a determination to move the warlord and then do this. So be really mindful of how you do it. You activate the unit with this, and then you would do like a dice or a wheelbay or something to then move them a second time.
It's not a free, generates no fatigue, but it's not a free activation. Still have to pay.
It's not a free activation for the combo unit.
So, okay, cool.
Yep. It's a lot of text, but it's good.
Down to reinforced armor. So I did pull this. This is one of the fact abilities, I believe. And so sure it was different here, but to uncommon or rare, elephant or Hearthguards, after the enemy attack dice are rolled, cancel 2 of their hits automatically. And if you use a rare, your unit gains resilience 1 or increases its resilience value by +1. It has this rule. So we have little foot Hearthguards with resilience 1. I think the chariots are resilience 1. They go to 2. Elephants are 2, go to 3. The big man, Raja, goes from a 3 to a 4. So, yeah, I mean, we're talking about auto hits are pretty good. If there's one thing almost as good as auto hits, or maybe even better, are automatically canceling hits. So kind of keeping with the theme, honestly, these powerful units.
Yep. It's really good. They included Hearthguard in the FAQ for this.
Oh, cool.
Just because Hearthguard, a lot of people talked about the Hearthguard just didn't have a place at times in this warband. this gives them a place, right? Being able to kind of make contact and not lose a model is really cool, increasing your resilience. One word of note: if you have the old board and you put the FAQ on here, it goes from the hits are now canceled before you roll your defense dice. So you get hit 4 times, you take 2 dice away, and then you get to roll 2 to try to save 2.
Interesting. Okay.
So it is kind of a note. Sometimes running elephants, this ability actually scares me a little bit more. I think this kind of brings the Indians actually kind of out of the stratosphere. This ability used to just be kind of ballistic. Because with elephants or resilience-based units, one little hit through is like the scariest thing in the world. That one levy unit rolling 1 dice, hit you 1 time, and you just go, oh, come on, you know. So you cancel the 2 before you roll. So just that's a big note about this. But then your resilience goes up, so that's actually kind of all good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so kind of interesting there. If you got the rare, this is kind of the one you might use when you charge in fresh, maybe to take advantage of the resilience, and then
increase your resilience to save 1 more hit. Hopefully,
otherwise, there's kind of just go in. You're gonna be exhausted, but you're gonna live, and then you might save it for the opponent's turn just to absorb the inevitable counter attack. Something here. So yeah, kind of interesting. But definitely keep an elephant alive. A lot better than so most of the boards kind of have these like elephant abilities, or they're kind of meant for the elephants, even if they're not specifically for the elephants. So this is probably one of the better ones for keeping the elephant alive among all the boards that get access to the old ways. Hi. Up here, keeping the theme going here. Trying to think, would you take an Indian board warband without an elephant?
I think thematically, I might be really mad at you for it, but there's a guy on the online, or one of the Australian guys. He had some fun and ran like an all chariot list. It works.
Yeah, both of these abilities. The abilities we're discussing are great for elephants, but they made it so they all work for the heavy chariots too.
They did, and that's the big change that I think they really tried to make. Is everybody said, "Oh, we can't use Hearthguard." Now you can. They're great. They're fun. Thematically, they're super cool. So if you don't have an elephant on the board, I might sneer at you as an Indian player, saying like, "You don't want an elephant. You should have an elephant."
What's going on?
But go have a lot of fun. Go have some fun with them.
All right. Well, great size is a shooting reaction. Use any old die you want. Each roll of the defense die cancels 2 instead of 1, and you just cancel 2 hits if you use the rare. So some more automatic goodness here, baby.
It's if your elephants are even elephants, chariots, if they're around any shooters, you just kind of have to have this loaded at any given time if you're going to assume you're going to take some shots in return, because it's like the killer of this board. Little ticky-tacky shots is like the easiest way to kill resilient stuff. So being able to just slough one shot right off is really good.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of victory points riding on just a couple dice rolls here. So make sure they count.
Yep.
And down, the earth trembles. So this one was fact as well. Activation ability using an uncommon. It's for a foot unit. Elephants are foot units, though. So, right? Elephants can use this.
Yes, they are.
Activate a unit for a charge that generates no fatigue. So, why don't you put together the sequence for us of the...
Yeah, so this is the final part of that sequence. So if you have a standard elephant who doesn't have determination, you're going to activate him with no way out. Then you're going to use a dice or a We Obey off the Warlord. And then you're going to be able to charge fatigue free. I remember an elephant moves M, then S, and S, right? So that's 6 inches plus 4 plus another 4. And they have now arrived 14 inches away, fatigue free. And it's thanks to the earth trembles. They made it actually easier to use because it used to be a double dice. This makes it usable, right? It used to be that was like the one play you did in a single turn. It took all your dice. Okay. Now with like this, it's just really good. Or you can double charge. I double charge the Rodge with this pretty often.
Yeah.
So the Rodge on the elephant, I'll have him charge, take no fatigue because of reinforced armor, and then charge with the earth trembles, and it's pretty terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what really makes those cavalry kind of stand way back from the battle. Although I guess I don't know, you're not doing much if you're doing that, so you might just have to take your licks, or I don't know. Yeah, it's good.
It. My only last thought on it, really quick, is this is the moment most players, they don't realize how far you can charge as an Indian board, and so they put that mounted unit just inside 12, so they can maybe make a charge
10.5 inches, yeah.
And they have no clue that you're just going to have this elephant who's just got like warp speed on him. You know, he's just got these rocket packs sitting on the back of him, and he's ready to just fly across the board and just deliver those auto hits.
Yeah, and then I guess we should say too, I mean, he's like a tank. He's firing on all the way through. So the 2 shots after the first one, 2 shots after the second one, probably 10-inch range, and then another one if you're not exhausted at the end. So
if you're not exhausted at the end, then you get to shoot again. It's just all good. This whole board benefits from this ability really well. The Hearthguard, the foot Hearthguard get this ability now, so the heavy weapon Hearthguard can kind of charge and then charge again if you need them to, or they can kind of make a really good play if somebody's inside 12, send them like a little 4-pack of them. So like I said, this ability, the whole warband really does benefit from this, minus like obviously the heavy chariots, but they already have their own goodness. So this is the time for the foot guys and the elephants to shine.
Right, that's cool. Yeah, you playing about there, and next one up, Mandala melee, also taking a boat here. Choose a friendly unit within short of your unit. If it's a different troop type, you can reroll 2 attack and 2 defense dice. If it has the same troop type, reroll 4 defense dice. So are these, sometimes you have trouble thinking live on the recording. You either get one or the other. You don't get both, or you do get both?
No, you get one or the other. Okay. And you can use yourself as the reference unit. The mandala was the formation that they would fight in, so they would all kind of be there to help each other. And so your like levy unit, right? We talked about the levy don't have a huge, this is their play. They close ranks, they reroll 4 dice, and they're using themselves as the same troop type to reroll 4 defense dice. It's pretty decent.
Okay. Yeah, so if nobody's around, it's just a purely defensive ability. If you got some buddies nearby, then you can use it to gain some attack power. And, so it looks like next one here, but basically you can soup up your auto hits, but basically you're just kind of re-rolling your existing hits. You're never you're not gaining attack dice with the Indian board.
Not really. You kind of got to rely on a lot of just like I said, you got to kind of rely on a lot of just elephant work and the bonus on the charge.
So that makes those heavy weapon Hearthguard more interesting too. I mean, you don't need to use the rerolls typically, but just having a unit that can hit pretty hard by itself without having to use this stuff can have.
And the Order's Tactics ability, you can now reroll 3 and 3 if that's rocking.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So those heavy weapon Hearthguard can go blow up another Hearthguard unit pretty solidly. You're rerolling 3 of your defense dice, your lower armor, but you're +1, hitting on 4s. Now you get to reroll half your dice. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and you might be able to cancel some hits and get resilience to boot. So makes it interesting. Right.
A lot of plays.
Steel the new shooting. Another boat. Boats. Looking at here.
It's all boats.
It's all boats all the way down. All right. If the enemy's armor against shooting is 5 or higher, you can reroll all your attack dice that don't score hits. So again, with the rerolls, not giving you extra, just letting you maximize every little last drop of attack dice you have. If they're not a high armor, then it's just half hits. So yeah, I guess I didn't realize this ability existed. Usually it seems like you're being on the opposite side, just worn down with the quantity of fire here, but you can get a very high quality shot off. with
That's
this one here.
mhm. That's kind of it. I use this more as like a threat to somebody, right? I dare you to use my fatigue on my levy unit. I dare you to use my fatigue to raise your armor to 5, because then I get to reroll everything. So it just kind of sits there during like a shooting round. And if they don't ever use my fatigue, the last shot, you just reroll 2 and you move on with it anyways. Or half your attack dice, which don't score a hit. So that's usually kind of the thought on it is if I've got to overactivate the levy for quantity of shots because I don't have any way to add dice, this is a huge threat to the opponent to say, like, I dare you to use my fatigue. Go to armor 5, and now I get to reroll all of my misses, which is better because you've now raised your dice, right? I get to reroll even more at this point.
Sure. Yeah. Good points here. Yeah, this one, and there's going to be some point in every game where you just got one shot left, one last volley. This was like the enemy elephants. I don't know. I have a terrible track record for getting like one hit, no matter how many dice I roll. But usually they fail that one hit. So statistically, it probably comes out. But
everybody fails that one hit.
So usually I'm pretty excited. You know, if I see just that the one hit goes through, I'm like, oh, you're toast. You're done. But just kind of having some insurance, taking out an enemy elephant or taking out the enemy warlord, something like that, where it's the last shot. You know, I just want to make sure this happens. This ability can make the difference. Right, one more to go. Dynasties of the Raja.
Yeah.
Another fact one here. Common or rare elephants or anything without a ranged weapon. The unit does not take any fatigue at the end of the melee, and you gain 2 defense dice if you use a rare. So I think this is good. Saga veterans, gotta love these kind of bread and butter, avoiding fatigue type abilities, right?
Yep. Especially with resilience units. Like I said, if half your army's resilience units, there's nothing worse than taking one hit when you go in and then you end with 2 fatigue and you only took one hit. Now your unit's really close to being dead and possibly blowing up your whole army. So this, when you got to charge in the middle of your own line, with like an elephant or something, this is a great way to keep them very safe, or to do like that, we come across 14 inches or we just charge and we want to charge a second time and we're okay with taking the fatigue. You charge, use Dynasties of Raja, and then you Earth Trembles back in. And so you've kind of avoided a lot of fatigue for a very kind of tricky little play.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing wrong with this. 2, I think, sometimes there's little piddly enemy units that need to be polished off, and you're like, you don't really want to use like your resilience units necessarily. It's like kind of a win for the opponent if you do that. Yep. So this one, if you go in and finish off the last 2 levy or the 1 warrior or something, kind of just make sure you come out of it clean using this one here. I don't think is a bad play either. Okay, so that's the last ability here. I guess we have seen you can definitely combo all of these elephant abilities. And I guess maybe before it definitely take all your dice, maybe it just takes most of your dice to do that. Yeah. If you think of like a new player, they do like to kind of just throw everything into one combat per turn. Do you think just throwing everything in on the elephant is... I mean, some terms it will be the thing to do, I guess. Yep. I don't know. What kind of advice would you give to a player?
I think this is where I think the Indian board challenges you to do a lot, right? You're going to be shooting, you're going to be moving, you're going to be charging, and all of that can happen in a singular round, even if maybe your orders tactics aren't perfectly loaded for the scenario, because you might shoot a unit, bring your light chariots up, shoot it again, and then the elephant's close enough that the elephant goes over and makes the charge on like at the edge, right? We're kind of folding the edge in, we're coming into their line, or a unit that's out of position, or, so that's where I would say getting comfortable with doing a lot, because here we're not getting a bunch of bonus dice. We're getting some rerolls. We're kind of sloughing off some fatigue. We're really keeping the elephants alive. And so that's kind of the goal. Take as many of their units away before something makes contact, right? If they have a 10 warrior pack, well, if I can kill 3 of those warriors out of the levy shot, combo shots, and then the elephant comes in. Well, now it's only a 7-pack. It's not as scary as like that 10-pack of guys sitting there. So that's kind of the best way I've kind of learned to play this warband is kind of the chariots come up. They do a lot of chariot stuff while the rest of the warband's kind of coming up and just making a lot of little stuff, right? Everything's going to shoot. Elephants shoot, like chariots shoot, levies shoot. And so you're kind of just sending this volley into somebody, hoping for like 1 or 2 kills. And you're okay with that. Just bring their combat power down a little bit, and then the elephants kind of finally get into contact and start blowing units up.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I think the key thing there too, just remembering the elephants can shoot. I don't know. I've seen so many forgetting to shoot situations. I've been on the one day forgetting to shoot many times myself. So just kind of remember. Probably a good rule of thumb. Yeah, as long as you're not doing the party. Just if you touch that elephant and move it. Get some dice ready because you're probably going to be able to get a shot at, you know.
Yep. Well, that, and I will say sometimes when people kind of charge into your line to come after those chariots or the levy units, the elephant, even if you're not going to move him and charge him, if he's got a 10-inch shot across the table, and he's not going to do anything else, again, right? Like that 2 shots, it may or may not do anything. But like even just sitting still with the Raja and shooting, like here we are in this line waiting for you to come over here. We're just going to kind of like ticky-tacky these little small 2s and 3s and 4s and so don't forget the elephant shot. That's it's why the board probably doesn't have bonus dice would be my guess to a lot of this stuff is everything has all these different ways of doing stuff. So like a light chariot unit can attack and shoot. Heavy chariot units get big attack power. Elephants auto hits and light are the combo shots.
Yeah, that's a good point about just, you're not going to activate, or maybe all you're going to do is rest. You still get those combo shots, and that like applies to the chariots too. You could like all of a sudden find yourself like in a hornet's nest, and like the other guy, he's got, the Indian player's got 2 or 3 Saga dice or whatever, but he just kind of rests or does a couple things, but you still take everything shoots at you because
everything
the Padma, everything's within 10 inches is a pretty decent range in Saga. So there's going to be something there. So, I can kind of see, just kind of deceptive, the number of shots you might take, even when the Saga dice get down. So, do you have fun playing the Indians, Brit?
The power curve that everybody kind of said they're too powerful, they're too good, which kind of kept me away from them initially. They're probably the funnest warband I have, and now that they've kind of come down out of the stratosphere and they're still just a top tier board, they're still great. They're still at they're probably one of the funnest boards because there's all that, right? You're doing all of this stuff as you kind of now get your Saga experience going. Everything on my board is doing something, and that's a lot of fun. And so that's where I would say like the paint scheme, right? Is I think last year at Adepticon, I was very, very lucky to get kind of painted with my Indians. I had a lot of fun painting them too, right? Minus this love of painting the chariots. I still like the way they look and the color you can put into this warband and its history I don't know too. So love them. Everything about this warband is super fun. Paint all the options. I love it.
Good. How does this warband do with the objective scenarios? So the elephants can kind of grab them without penalty, but then if the chariots or whatever would probably not want to grab them.
It's why like for me, as much as I love the bow levy, the foot levy with mandala, right, rerolling 4 defense dice, they're pretty stout. So that's when the standard
swap those guys in those scenarios.
Yep. And they're just I'm gonna activate them, and then I can fatigue free charge them if I need to, just to get them up there, right? You're just throwing these guys across the table. It's good. So that's where I'd say like that. Objective scenarios, you're a little there's the scary dance of like there's a bunch of resilience on the table, and if one dies, which we didn't talk about Mad with Pain, by the way, that's the one thing we didn't talk about for the elephants. Because I've actually done it to somebody. I've luckily never had it done to me where I kill an elephant and he kills the elephant next to him because he gave him a fatigue bomb, and I killed him with shooting. So you watch like 2 elephants blow up in a warband, so you watch like 2 elephants blow up in a warband, and like it was a 3-man javelin unit. There was an exhausted elephant and like a not exhausted elephant. Threw the 3 shots, hit him like once, killed him, boom, killed the other elephant, and then fatigue bombed the entire warband.
That's the dream right there.
It's the dream.
Did you wake up in the middle of the night because it was just a dream?
I feel like it was one of those moments I realized I had to like pinch myself and also say sorry to like a new player in our league. You know, like it was one of those moments like I had to take it. I'm very sorry for taking it, and I can't believe it worked. Sorry about that, but your whole warband's now kaput. Everything's got fatigue. So that's what maybe the hard part for new players too, is we talk about Age of Magic stuff, learning to play with lots of resilience. It's a very scary game to actually play, because once one thing kind of blows up, all of a sudden it's kind of like the domino effect. So
yeah, and I think too, sometimes you get really complacent with your resilient units, and you'll charge with like 1 or 2 fatigues or something like that because you'll survive. But and this will come into play in Age of Magic too. But if your opponent, they can spend those fatigues, those are your hit points, but they'll spend it, take themselves up to armor 6 or something. And so just remember that they can do that when you're planning your attacks, because all of a sudden, this happens in Magic a lot, monster's coming in, he thinks he's going to do something. I'll take myself to armor 6, and the monster half the time ends up exhausted anyways. It's like
you take one little hit back, and then you take a fatigue for the melee, and it's all bad. So that's where I will say, like, when people kind of talk about the Indians, that's the scary part. Playing as an Indian player, I'm just like almost like a ball of anxiety, like half the game, because one bad move, one bad little thing, and half my warband can fall very quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot riding on fewer dice here.
Yeah,
so many resilience units. Are there any mercs or anything that Indians can take, or you like to take?
They can take a couple. I'll be honest. I've talked with a couple guys who I know run Indians about them, and we kind of joke. It's the same joke with the Huns. The Indians want more Indians, right? The Huns want more Huns. That's kind of the. They only take a couple of them. It's like the Scythians, and then which I think, like I said, just having more Indians, right? I want another elephant. I want a levy unit. They could be really cool flavor and fun, but that's maybe my only thing to the put them in if they're cool.
Well, I think they do take a ding, because even if they're warriors, they would just activate with the uncommon or the rare. So your warlord would have to like babysit them kind of to avoid.
Yeah.
Soak up your dice. You like those boats for other abilities there. So I could totally see that. Right. Well, I think we have just about, there's a lot we didn't say here about the Indians, about the troop types and special rules. Definitely take a look, familiarize those profiles. It's definitely a challenging board. Probably wouldn't recommend it for beginners, although I don't know, would you agree with that, or
I mean, I think you talk about it whenever you do kind of your big reviews. It's a 3-star board. It is probably one of the ones that completely deserves being a 3-star board. And it's just because there's so many special troop types, knowing what all those troop types do, knowing how your board, when the board says a foot unit, that's not inherently elephant off the bat, right?
Yeah.
Some people might look at that, not think about an elephant. They go, oh, that's foot Hearthguard or foot levy. And like, you go, no. Elephant specifically says it's a foot unit. And so that's where, like, I will also say play them a lot. I came up to Adepticon last year and I only got like 3 good reps in with them. And then I played them at like 4 points, at 8 points. They're a ton of fun at 8 points. They are really scary at 4 points. Just because you're running low on dice a lot. But
interesting. Yeah.
8 points is a lot of fun with this board. It's probably one of the coolest 8-point games you can ever play, is like Indians on Persians, like an 8-point game. But 3 points is really it's a lot of fun, because then you get some extra movement, you get all this other, but as a beginning player, seeing that many points on the board would be scary. But as a beginning player, just take it slow. If this is the one you want to go to, and unfortunately your models, they're not going to work for a lot of other stuff, right? All my Indian models, there's no other warband that has light chariots that are like that I bottled, right? The elephants,
Yeah.
I could probably put them in like a Persian list. I could probably put them in a successor list because the successors had a lot of contact. That's where, right, the succession wars kind of started a lot.
Right? Yeah.
Obviously, Alexander dies in India, and like that's where a lot of this stuff falls from. So that's the other hard part for a new player. This warband isn't as you put it, right? Play one, what is it? Paint one, play many.
Yeah. Paint one,
You
play
can't
one.
do that with this warband. Yeah, you kind of paint one, you play one, and that's a lot of investment. And so that's kind of the hard part. I knew diving into it, I'm going to have to kind of buy some unique models, paint unique models that are only going to be for my Indians.
But I usually think, paint one, but if you want to, you can keep going. It looks like there's a couple different, you could play like a chariot build, or I think, just even putting your warlord on a chariot versus the elephant would probably have a pretty big dynamic change, even if you hold everything else. And now you've got like this extra unit to play with too. Or taking the heavy weapon Hearthguard, or just going for a bucket of warriors, just being like everybody else for a little bit.
Yeah. Come down out of all the uniqueness and just put some warriors on the table.
Just put a bunch of warriors. Yeah, it looks like you have to keep painting, but if this looks like one where the play styles would change quite a bit between those. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it does. When you put a lot of the heavy chariots, like you said, we didn't touch on it. Heavy chariots and light chariots can't go into terrain at all. So then you're kind of really trying to figure out, how do I kind of get at somebody that's maybe hiding in terrain, which none of the ancients boards like to go in terrain too much. But still, if somebody's going in terrain, you can't go get them with your big heavy chariots. And you kind of got to figure out how to get the elephant in there, things like that. So
just a little bit of everything, cover all the bases. That's what gotta do.
But paint it all. Like I said, the models out there are starting to get better. There's a lot of places that do it, and like you said, the dynamic changes so much when I put the heavy chariots on versus the elephants, and it's a blast because you're just charging away and charging, and that's all you need to be doing. So
it's awesome. Well, right. I am definitely intrigued. Louis at Scropha Miniatures, he has a standing offer to me where he'll give me all the Indian STLs if I want.
Yeah.
To paint them. And I'm like,
I feel bad not mentioning him because those models are so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't think he had them out when I was kind of first building the whole warband. And so I didn't want to have half these in, and sometimes I'm kind of too much of a purist on that, but those models are gorgeous.
So yeah, they're beautiful. Someday I'll take him up on that offer. He's a generous man. Just want to say that. But I don't want to take him until I'm ready. It's going to be a big commitment. But
I don't know if I'm ready for the day Rodge shows up to a tournament with Indians. I might be a little scared of that. But
hello, friends.
And then you have to put yourself on the Raja, right? As we kind of joked before, Rodge on the Raja. You're going to have to put your own model on there.
I had the playtest document that he showed me. It was the Rodge on the elephant, and I was gearing up. And then when the book came out, it was the Raja. And it's close. It's close. You're close enough. We all get it, but that I was a little dismayed that they didn't stick to just the Rodge on there. But in any case, I do want to thank Sean, Patrick, Mitchell, Scott, Brit. That's you, DJ, Robin, Damian, Caledon, Cruz, and the rest of the Saga Thursday patrons. And would not be doing a video every week in 2025 without the support of the Heathen crew. And probably, definitely counting on that patrons too to step up and help with the faction reviews. So, Brett, thank you so much for lending me your cash and your time and knowledge here. And really appreciate it.
I really enjoy it, Raj. I say it's maybe a shout out. I enjoy being a Patreon. It's really fun seeing a lot of the stuff and getting the cool stuff. So,
no problem. All right. So, I will say, if anybody's played with or against the Indians, if you got a little favorite build, looks like there's more than one way to build these guys. Let us know your thoughts. I'd be curious to hear. And If anybody has any good elephant smashing stories, I would definitely like to be. Everybody wants to hear a good elephant smashing thing story. So, yeah, definitely can't get enough of those. So, post those below, whether you were the one doing the smashing or the one getting ground into the dirt. If you're the Macedonian in the trunk of that one elephant from Aventine or whatever, let us know. But all right. Well, thanks again, Brit. Once again, folks can check out the Strategicon of Saga podcast, and always stuff coming out. Seems pretty regular. It's every couple months at least. I don't know. It's tough saying when this will come out, but yeah, are you guys still kind of thinking about the video sphere, YouTube and stuff for Strategicon, or is that on the shelf?
We're trying. It's just tough, and I say that's why I have all respect for the guys that do the videos. Obviously, you're kind of the video guy right now. It's doing a lot of stuff. It's tough. Recording a bunch of guys talking on podcasts, that to me, not to be mean, it's easy at this point. Doing video and getting into that point of recording live games, it is a lot. So we're trying. Hopefully, as kind of we roll back into kind of the winter. Hopefully I get that up and rolling. So we got some stuff in Kansas City we're doing, and I can't wait as we kind of slow down on that to then like really jump in and kind of do some more stuff.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, yeah, looking forward to it. Love all the Saga content out there. So yeah, excited for anything you guys do. So keep up the good work, and we'll catch you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Saga! If you'd like to see more Saga content, consider joining the Heathen Army over on Patreon, or popping on down to the Saga Thursday Discord server. Links below. Thanks, guys.